What if the hardest part of life isn't achieving, but controlling yourself? The real battle isn't out there, it's inside your mind. Becoming the person you're meant to be isn't a sprint, it's a confrontation with yourself. This is the story of a young man named Diego. A man who spent years believing his life was not moving. A man who thought he was behind, unprepared, and unqualified. A man who did not realize that everything he was facing, every frustration, every delay, every uncertainty, was shaping him into someone he did not yet recognize. Diego grew up in a bustling city, surrounded by noise and constant movement. People moved quickly, talked quickly, and judged quickly. By the time he was 23, many of his friends were advancing in the building industry, building relationships, and making plans for the future. Diego felt like he was stuck at the starting line. He worked at a small office job, nothing special. He woke up late, slept even later, and lived most days on autopilot. He wanted to change, but his desires were louder than his discipline. What frustrated him the most was not his job or his paycheck. It was the feeling that he was capable of more, but could not access it. It was like there was a locked door inside him, and the key was missing. One evening, Diego sat on the rooftop of his apartment building. The city lights flickered like stars that had fallen to earth. He asked himself a question that he had avoided for years. Who am I becoming? Not who he wanted to be, not who people expected him to be, but who he was actually becoming based on his habits, reactions, fears, and choices. The answer scared him. From that moment, the journey began, not on a physical path, but an internal one. The first challenge was discipline. Diego decided to wake up at 5:30 every morning. It seemed simple, but in truth it was war. When the alarm rang, his body demanded sleep, his mind demanded comfort, and his excuses arrived dressed as logic. Just today, they whispered, tomorrow will be better. And that was the first lesson. The enemy of destiny often wears polite language. The second challenge was emotion. Diego had always been reactive. When someone disrespected him, he snapped. When someone ignored him, he grew silent and bitter. When life disappointed him, he blamed the world. But slowly, he began to understand that reactions are chains. As long as something outside of you can control your mood, your peace, and your direction, you cannot own your life. To become the person he was meant to be, Diego had to learn the art of silence, patience, and delayed response. Not because he was weak, but because strength without control is just violence. The third challenge was identity. Every time something went wrong, Diego changed direction. One week, he wanted to start a business. The next week, he wanted to move to another city. And the week after, he just wanted to sleep. He lived with a carousel mind, spinning constantly, going nowhere. The breakthrough came not from success, but from failure. After losing an opportunity he deeply wanted, Diego allowed himself to feel the disappointment without running from it. Inside that discomfort, he discovered clarity. He realized that the person he wanted to become was not built on excitement, but on consistency. The future version of him did not change paths every week. He stayed, he built, he endured. Months passed. Diego did not become perfect. He did not suddenly achieve everything or gain applause from the world, but something inside him hardened, not in a bitter way, but in a firm way. His habits changed, his reactions changed, his decisions changed. People began noticing small things they could not explain. He looked calmer. He moved with intention. He spoke less, but with weight. He became someone others respected without him asking. One afternoon, Diego met with an old friend named Rafael. They had not seen each other in years. Rafael was surprised by the changes. "What happened to you?" he asked. "You seem different." "I started taking myself seriously," Diego replied. Rafael laughed, thinking it was a joke. But when he looked in Diego's eyes, he realized it was not. There was a stillness there. A stillness that comes only from a person who has faced himself and refused to run. The truth is that people rarely change quickly. They become different slowly, in thousands of tiny choices, in morning alarms, in moments of restraint, in nights spent learning instead of scrolling, in winning battles no one sees. And Diego was winning by inches. The greatest transformation, however, came when Diego understood the secret of self-mastery. Becoming yourself is not about adding more things to your life. It is about removing what is in the way. The distractions, the fears, the comparisons, the expectations. One by one, he removed them. Each time he removed one, he found another layer of himself underneath. He learned that you cannot become who you are meant to be while trying to be everyone else. Comparison destroys direction. Noise destroys clarity. Impulse destroys progress. A year later, Diego received a new opportunity. It was work that required consistency, confidence, and emotional strength. The old Diego would have refused, believing he was not ready. The new Diego stepped forward, not because he suddenly had everything figured out, but because he had learned how to handle himself when things became difficult. That is the real meaning of owning your mind, not controlling life, but controlling the person who meets life. The shift was not dramatic. There was no applause, no celebration. But the people around him sensed something important. Diego was finally walking toward his future instead of running from his present. If you feel lost, behind, or unsure of who you're becoming, remember, you don't need to have everything figured out. Build yourself step by step. Face your weaknesses, sharpen your habits, and take control of your mind. Progress may be slow, but every small effort is shaping the person you're meant to be. The greatest victories happen in silence, and the greatest transformations happen when no one is watching. If this message reached you today, subscribe for more stories like this. Every story here is a lesson. Every lesson is a step forward. Keep working on yourself. The world is waiting for the person you are becoming.